Om Vagartha Viva Sampraktau Vagartha Pratipattaye Jagataha Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Om ஐந்து கரத்தனை யானை முகத்தனை எந்தின் இளம்பிறை போலும் எயிற்றனை நந்தி மகந்தனை ஞான கொழுந்தனை புந்தியில் வைத்தடி போற்றுகின்றேனே. நிதயே சர்வ வித்யானாம் விஷஜே பவரோகிணாம் புரவே சர்வலோகானாம் தட்சிணாமூர்த்தயே நமः. ஓம் நம பிரணவார்த்தாய சுத்த ஞானைகமூர்த்தயே நிர்மலாய பிரசாந்தாய தட்சிணாமூர்த்தயே நமः. ஈஸ்வரோ குருராத்மேதி மூர்த்திபேத விபாகினே व्योमवद्व्याप्त देहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तः पुनः पुनः. यद्वारे निखिलानिलिम्पपरिषत् सिद्धिं विदत्ते निशं श्रीमत्श्रीलसितं जगद्गुरुपदम् उत्वात्मतृप्तिं गताः लोकाज्ञानपयोदपाटनदुरं शङ्करं शर्मदं शङ्करभगवत्पादाचार्यगुरुवरं ध्यायामि ज्योतिर्मयम्. ஒன்றவந்தான இரண்டவன் அருள் நின்றனன் மூன்றினுள் நான்கு உணர்ந்தனன் ஐந்து வென்றனன் ஆறு விரிந்தனன் எழும்பாற் சென்றனன் தான் இருந்தான் உணர்ந்து எட்டே. अतिमधुर चापहस्ताम् अपरिमितामोद सौभाग्याम् अरुणाम् अतिशय करुणाम् अभिनव कुल सुंदरीम् वन्दे. त्वदन्य पानिभ्याम् अभयवरदो देवतगणः त्वदन्यः पानिभ्यामभयवरदो देवतगणः त्वमेका नैवासि त्वम् एका नैवासि प्रकटितवराभीत्यभिनया. त्वमेका नैवासि प्रकटितवराभीत्यभिनया. भयात् त्रातुं दातुं फलं त्रातुं भयात् फलं धातुं भयात् त्रातुं दातुं फलं त्रातुं धातुं अपि च वाञ्छसमधिकं धातुं त्रातुं वाञ्छसमधिकं धातुं फलं त्रातुं भयात् त्रातुं दातुं फलमपि च वाञ्छसमधिकं. शरण्ये लोकानां शरण्ये तव हि चरणावेव निपुणौ. This is a wonderful Saundarya Lahari slokam. The meaning is very obvious, very simple meaning. You can explain it in 1 minute. The difference between you and the other gods is this, and everybody does this. But you don't do that. That's all there is to it. That's all the meaning in this. But then you have absolutely no idea the depth of this. It's like an ocean. This particular sloka is like an ocean, and that's still continuing from verse number 1. This ocean of depth, that knowledge, that flow, that this Ganges starting from the top of the Himalayas, still flowing through. And this is absolute perfect continuity. We'll see how that. So the topics we will cover. Acharya directly addressed the Devi and tells her there is this difference between you and the Devata Ganas. So pretty much all the verses, every verse, he directly addresses her. So this one also is addressed to her directly. So it's like he is directly talking to her, right, as if she's in front of her. So he is telling her what's the difference between her and the Devata Ganas and how she does differently what they do. what the Devataganas do, how Devi does it differently. And not only how she does it differently, also tells her how she does it abundantly, more than what the other gods do. And not only abundantly, so how she does it efficiently. So where she doesn't have to do pretty much nothing. So without doing nothing, she does everything. So that's what efficiency means. We'll see that. And then you would also see that throughout the Saundarya Lahari so far, and pretty much the entire Saundarya Lahari, even though he is talking to the Devi, Ambal, specifically doesn't call her by any name yet. But then he is giving us little clues who he is going to talk about. So we have to figure out through his typical style. Acharya's typical style is he will tell you, if he defines anything, he will tell you what it is not first. Then finally, after you clears all your doubts, what it is not, this is not this, this is not this, this is not this, then I'll tell you finally this is what it is. So that's the best way of teaching. So throughout Acharya's teaching, whether it's Tattva Bodham or Atma Bodham or his commentaries on Kaivalya Upanishad, anything. So you would see him, not this, not this, not this. You already figured out. So if it's not this, if it's not this, not this. So you clear all your doubts. Then he says, this is it. And it's so clear. So that's in his typical style. He does it here also by telling what she is not, what she doesn't do, by implying what she does. So he is introducing her indirectly. Then we will also see what is this Abhaya and Varada. There's not much to spend time on this Varada, Hasta or Varada. But Abhaya, you really need to understand what that Abhaya really means. We'll spend some time on that with examples from Upanishads. And then we'll also see what's the difference between Abhaya and Varada. The main topic is She versus the Devataganas with reference to the devotees. Vis-a-vis the devotees, Devi and the Devatas. So devotees are the center and Devi and the Devatas on the other side, how each one of them deal with the devotees. So then this is how it is. How she does it differently, how she does it abundantly, how she does it efficiently, and how Acharya introduces her to us in an indirect way. And then what is Abhaya, what is Varada, and what's the difference between these two. So we will cover these topics. Now here's a little triangle here. So I'm going to take your memory back to verse number 1, where I mentioned it's like a computer algorithm that if this is if A equal to B, follow this pathway. But if A equal to C, follow this pathway. A equal to B what? That if Shiva, if Shakti is not united with Shiva, you cannot even move. You cannot even vibrate. So that is if A equal to B, which means if Shakti is not. But then if Shakti is with him, if A equal to C, then the whole creation comes about. Luckily for us, like I said, it was A equal to C, Shakti was with Shiva, then the creation started. So then the CEOs are appointed. But then she still descends down like a thread throughout this. So she's also with the Trinities. So we saw how with the dust of her feet, the dust of her feet, Taniyamsam Pamsam, the creation was done with that, and with the dust of the feet, with Taniyamsam Pamsam, how maintenance was done, how with the Taniyamsam Pamsam, Rudra applying it all over his body, did the resolution. So we saw all that in the second one. So now having created the world, the human beings are in it, different kind of human beings. That's what we saw in verse number 3. So Devi did not abandon the world after created it. After having created it, she's still with us. So she's still with us in verse number 3. So he didn't say, okay, you are the CEOs and you take care of it. I'm going to be in the background. No, she just came down with the creation. And Acharya told us how she was dealing with different kind of human beings, different levels of evolved beings, how she was dealing with avidyanam, moodhanam, daridranam, jadanam, all these people, and janma jaladhav, nimagdhanam. So all these people, how she was dealing with. So she's still with the creation. Now we see a triangle here. What is the triangle? Devi is still at the very top of the triangle, like the pinnacle of a pyramid, like you see in the Sri Chakram, like the Bindu on top, like a Mahameru On the top, Devi is still there. But what is in the three corners of triangle? So we have one side, the Devata Ganas, and still she is throughout the triangle. On the other side, Devi, and how they deal with the devotees. So this is pretty much what this fourth verse is all about. How these two deal with the devotee and what's the difference. So Devi versus Devatas, vis-a-vis devotees. That's an archaic phrase. I think it's a French one. Vis-a-vis devotees, which means with reference to the devotees, how Devi deals with them and how the Devatas deal with them, a comparative study, if I may call it. That's what Acharya is launching upon, a comparative study. And not only is launching upon a comparative study, but he's also bringing out the glory of the Divine Mother in the comparative study. How she does things differently, how she does it more efficiently, how she does everything by doing nothing. That's efficiency. Now, first topic, Devi versus the Devaganas. What is that? Tvadanyaha, other than you, everybody else. Other than you means everybody else. Every Devata. What do they do? Abhayavarado. They do this, they do this. Everybody else. Which means when he says that, other than you, except you, everybody does, means Devi doesn't do it, right? So Devi doesn't do this. So that's what that means. So then, yeah, other than you, everybody does this, and then only you don't do it. So what do they do? Panibhyam. Here, not one hand. Panibhyam means it's a plural here. So with this is Abhaya as Varada. Panibhyam, they these mudras, and they bestow boons, the Devata Ganas. Good. So that's how different she is, Tadanya. Now, this same point gets reinforced in the second line. I mean, he's already said that you don't do this. But then see how he reinforces this point. Tvameka naiva asi. He again says that. Naiva asi. You don't do like that. Naiva asi. He already said that. Other than you, everybody does this, Abhaya Varada. But then again he reinforces in line 2 that naiva asi, you don't do like that. Qualifies with an adjective there. Tvameka naiva asi. Again, first also he said that you are the only one. Tadanyaha. Now, here again he phrases it differently. Tvameka, you are the only one. So that was a passive comment. This is an active comment here. So there's a passive description in the previous one. Tadanyaham. Here it's an active affirmation. Tvameka. You are the only one. But don't do that. Don't do what? Prakatita, display. Display what? Varabhitya abhinaya. He uses a beautiful word. Abhinaya. You can't choose a better word than this. Prakatita varabhitya abhinaya. So the Abhayam and Varada is displayed through Abhinaya, right? What is Abhinaya? We will see. Abhinaya is enactment. 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 This reminds me like you have a child in your house and then the child has learned something and she's so proud or he is so proud. He wants to display right away, to everybody. And you also want him to display to all the relatives who come. So every relative who comes to your house has to listen and watch. Every friend has to come. So same way, these trinities and all the other gods and goddesses who have got this power from Devi, they want to display right away. Oh, here, I'll give you the Varadas. Oh, I'll give you the Abhaya. So they have to do a lot of Abhinaya. But in Tamil we say, Niraigodam Talumbadu. So Devi doesn't do anything. She just watches her children. Okay, no problem. He can do that. So that's how he uses his word. Parabhitya Abhinaya. You don't do this Abhinaya. Okay, see. Prakatita. Okay, you do not enact all these mudras. Now, so that's the first 2 verses, like how she's different. Now, the third and the fourth verse is how she does it abundantly and efficiently. So, the abundance, efficiency is described in, the meaning anybody can give you. I'm not going to be talking about for an hour on the meaning of this. But what you need to know is the in-depth analysis of these words, the depth of this each and every word. That's what we're going to do. So, like the third and fourth, Abhinaya, like I said, enactment. The mudras mentioned for enactment in Natya Sastras. What it is the definition of Abhinaya is giving outward expression to one's inner feelings and emotions through movements of face, hands, and the legs. That is Abhinaya. Okay, so Devi doesn't do that. She doesn't do the dance. Good. Now she does it abundantly without doing. Now, how does it abundantly? She does two things. Tratum, dhatum. So tratum, she does protect you, bhayat, from the fear. But we will see what that is. A very, very profound word, that tratum bhayat, abhaya. So, and then what is the other thing she does? Datum phalam. You give the results. How does she do it? Apicha vancha samadhika. Vancha means you want. Vanchita phalam avapnoti. Most of the phalashrutis will see you that. So whatever you want, that phalagat. But then Devi not only gives you what you want, but gives you more than what you want. Okay. So that is, she gives an abundance. And then she bhayat and protect you from fire. So that's abundance. So there is abundance. Now, efficient. How does she do it efficiently? By doing nothing. What is efficiency? Efficiency means you do less, accomplish more. Right? You do a lot, work a whole day, and you accomplish a little bit. That's not efficiency. So efficiency is doing less, accomplishing more. And what is the highest peak of efficiency? Doing nothing, like some of your husbands, making you do everything. So now the children started doing that also. So they do nothing and make you do everything. That's efficient, right? So this is efficiency, doing nothing and accomplishing everything. That's exactly what Devi does here. Now, how she does that? Like the other gods, they have to, doing with the hands and legs, and this is a lot of work, this is karma, so it's a lot of work. Devi doesn't do that because her hands are already busy. She's holding a sweet sugar can and a bunch of flowers as arrows. So she cannot do all that. So her hands are full. Like we say, your hands are full. So her hands are already full. And then the other two hands hold, Pasham and Ankusham. So there's no hand for Abhaya and Varada. So she doesn't do that, Abhaya and Varada Hasta. So why? Because she doesn't have to do it. Why she doesn't have to do it? Because this job is done for her by the dust of her feet. Niyamsum Pamsum. So same way, the Taniyamsum Pamsum is continuing here. So her feet does it. So that's why he uses plural here. Your feet, not your right foot or your left foot, your both feet, or not only they do that, they are expert, nipuna. Who is a nipuna? Nipuna means somebody who is the most expert person in the field. So you are the most expert in this field. So your feet are the most expert. How the most expert? They don't do anything, but still they get the job accomplished. And therefore, Sharanye Lokana, thou art the refuge of this entire world, because your feet are so efficient to give the varas and abhaya without doing anything. Now, some of you from Tamil Nadu, Tirupparandurai was a place where Manikavasagar built a temple. That's why Manikavasagar was a minister, okay? But luckily Shiva saved him. So luckily Shiva, Mukti Neri Ariyada. When he was a minister, he says how he was. When he was a minister, this is how he was. Mukti Neri Ariyada Murkarodu Muyalvene. I was with the idiots when I was a minister. I myself was an idiot. Bhakti neri ariyada Murkarodu muyalvene Bhakti neri arivete Palavinaigal parum vannam Chittamalam Telivitu Sivamaki Yanayanda Attanana Karuliyavar Yadaruvar Achapadi. That temple, the reason I'm pointing out Manikavasaya, Tirupurundurai, now it's called known as Arandangi, is near Karaikudi. And there you have this Manikavasaya temple. So in the temple, there is a Devi called Yogambika. So there you don't see a Devi's form. All that you have is Devi's feet. This is exactly what Acharya is talking about in, I put a figure there for you. So this is exactly what Acharya is talking about in verse number 4. Your feet alone capable of doing this very efficiently, and therefore you are Sharanye Lokanam. Other devas train themselves. You don't do anything. You do nothing. So your presence itself is good enough. Now, why the presence itself good enough? The analogy is, when the flower blooms, the flower doesn't make an effort to spread its fragrance. Does it say, okay, I got to spread my fragrance? Does it do this? Flower doesn't do it. Just the presence of the flower. It doesn't do anything to spread its beauty. The presence of the flower itself is beauty. So the presence of the Devi itself is good enough. So she doesn't have to do anything. So now, not only the grace, granting the grace, later on, Acharya explains, even this task, unimaginable task of creating, maintaining, resolving, hiding, and gracing, Panchakritya Parayanasya Shishti, Samara, Dhirodhana, Anugraha, even that she does with a flicker of her eyebrows. That's sufficient. So gracing, giving grace to the devotees is nothing. So she doesn't do anything. Therefore, she is Sharanye Lokanam. Now, in 6, 7, and 8 titles, like I put in the beginning, these are what is Abhaya, what is Varada, and what's the difference. Abhaya. Now, Abhaya means no fear. Abhaya means don't fear. Bhaya is fear. Now, when will there be fear? There'll be fear of so many things. Fear of disease, fear of ill health, fear of when you get old, fear of falling down. And then the fear of these government people, this is atrocious, like when there's so much of corruption, even to do a regular thing, something that is routine, you got to fear these guys. So all these fears, there's not only one fear, there's a phobia, fear, 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 fear. All life is all fear. The Tirumoolar beautifully says, Marattai maraitadu mamadayane, Marattul maraindadu mamadai. So this created phobia of fear. There's some fears are real, some are imagined. So which is the phobia? Mamadayana, illusionary elephant, the illusionary ghost that's hanging over us. The illusionary serpent that's superimposed on a rope, adhyasa, like in Advaita Vedanta parlance, adhyasa. So most of our fear is adhyasa, superimposed. There's a ghost that we created ourselves. Fear of losing a job, fear of losing money, fear of doing this, fear of your investments going down, fear of the chit fund guy cheating you. So fear, 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 fear. But then, what is that ultimate fear? The fear of death. So now, granting a boon of Abhaya is not considered a boon. It's not one of the varas that you ask. It's not one of the varas like, okay, give me good health, get my daughter married, get my son married, let my son have a visa to the United States. He has been trying for many years. So all these things are varas. You ask for this, ask for that. And you shouldn't include, or it cannot be included. The Abhaya cannot be included in that. Why it cannot be included in that? Because it is completely separate. Because once you are given the Abhaya, which is not easy, it is total liberation. What I mean by that? Because abhaya means you are freed from the utmost fear of life, the fear of death. That's what we are all afraid of. Every other fear hangs on to that. The fear of disease, Patanjali says, abhinivesha. So the fear to clinging, tendency to cling to life, and the fear of losing it. So the abhinivesha is one of the kleshas, like we saw in our couple of classes ago. What is avidya? So this is one of the kleshas. So that fear of losing the life. So if you get over that fear, then you are liberated. You are Jivan Mukta, because there's no fear of death, there's no fear of coming back, the cycle of birth and death. So that is not considered vara. That is considered mukti. So the varas would come under the other three categories: dharma, artha, kama. Those are varas. Moksha is not a vara. Moksha is total liberation. So we'll see how the Upanishads talk about this abhaya, and bhaya. So abhaya is freedom from the fear of cycle of birth and death. And therefore, what the Devi does by doing nothing, if you seek her feet, if you surrender unto her feet alone are capable of giving you ihaloka and paraloka shugam. So ihaloka means whatever you need here, and she gives it to you more than what you ask for. And paraloka, she just liberates you in one stroke. So that is abhaya. Now also, the difference, we're talking about still the difference. So vara means I want this, I want this, I want this. That's vara. Give me this, give me this, give me this. Like you go to an ocean with a little tumbler, take the water, ask for the whole ocean. Go with a tanker, like I say all the time. So that's why I write in the beginning, I mentioned that I won't go into the prayoga part of it, because it's like going to an ocean with a little spoon. So chant the whole Saundarya Lahari. That itself will give you abundance. Okay. So that is vara and abhaya. Now, abhayam is fearlessness, bhayam is fear. So when there is fear, again, we'll go a little deeper. When there is dichotomy, what is dichotomy? Something, you fear everything that's other than you. You fear the snake, you fear the tiger, you fear your enemies. They're all other than you. The typical example I'll give you is when you have a child or baby growing in your womb, you don't fear the baby because it's you, it's part of you. So you don't fear yourself. So you don't fear. The only thing that you may fear, the process of delivery maybe, because it's painful and all that. But then the child itself is not a source of threat for you, because child is part of you. So same way, whatever is other than you, your enemy, the snakes, the coronavirus, which can enter you, so you protect yourself. So it's not coming from the other person. You fear the other person. So whenever there is a dichotomy, then there is fear. So what kind of fear? One is that so long as we are in this world, we fear everything that is other than us. And then what is the second one? The final fear, the fear of the mother of all the fears, as we call it, is the fear of death. So Divine Mother removes these two just in one stroke. In one stroke, that she removes it by giving you liberation, by making you realize that thou art that, you are that unity. So will there be any fear when you realize the state of unity? No, there won't be any fear. But what there will be, it'll be a joy. It'll be ananda, it'll be bliss. When you realize that everything else is nothing but me, it's joy. So there's no more fear. It's like, do you fear yourself? Some of the people I've seen do. Oh, I'm so afraid of myself. But that's the myself and I, what they are is a limited person. That's a different topic. So the I am afraid of myself, not myself. What they consider myself is unreal. What they consider I is also unreal. That's not the real I or the real my. Okay. So we'll talk about that later. So you don't fear yourself. Then when you realize that oneness, oh my God, it's a joy, it's bliss. So we'll see how the saints have said that. Kabir beautifully said that, Lali dekana mai gayi. I went looking for that, my dear Lord, my beloved. Lali dekana mai gayi. Jitta dekun titta lala. Wherever I see that, that's all I saw. Then what happened? Lali mere lal ki mai bhi ho gayi lal. I become one with what I saw. This is Kabir. Lali dekana mai gayi. Jitta dekun titta lala. Lali mere lal ki mai bhi ho gayi lal. The same thing in Tamil. Bharatiyar said beautifully. காக்கை குருவி எங்கள் ஜாதி நீள் கடலும் மலையும் எங்கள் கூட்டம் நோக்கும் திசையெல்லாம் நாமன்றி வேறில்லை. Wherever I see the crows and the sparrows, they're all my clan, and the oceans and the mountains are all our crowd, they're all us. And then wherever I see, I don't see anything but myself. Then what happens? Nokka nokka kaliyatam. The more and more I look around and realize it's me, it's a dance of intoxication. Nandavanathil orandi, Nandavanathil orandi. அவன் 4 மாதமாய் குயவனை வேண்டி கொண்டு வந்தான் ஒரு தோண்டி. அதை கூத்தாடி கூத்தாடி போட்டுடை தாண்டி நந்தவனத்தில் ஒரு ஆண்டி. This is one of these 18 Siddhar songs. How he talks about we'll bring this body with us and we dance. We dance of ignorance and break it. But this dance that Bharati are talking about is a dance of joy, dance of bliss. When that happens, when that bhaya of everything is gone, when that ultimate fear of death is gone, then there's no more fear, but on the contrary, it's a joy. So let's how these Upanishads deal with it. Sahayamiksham shakre yanmadan yannasti kasmanu bibebhiti kasmanu bibemiti. What I'm afraid of. If there is nothing else but me, what I'm afraid of. So from that point, fear was gone. Tata evasya bhayam biyaya kasmadhya beshyat. For what was there to fear? Dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati. Bhayam bhavati dvitiyadvai. Only when there is a second entity, only when there is something that is separate from you, then there is bhayam. So the ultimate abhayam is liberation. So that's not a vara. See, that's why if you see these asuras, they do tapas for thousands of years. And nobody asks the gods for liberation. Relieve me from the fear of death. Have you seen any asura asking that? They ask for varas. Asura andavaram. That's all we have. I should not be killed by this, should not be killed by that. These are all varas. Did you see anybody asking for that? No, because that is ignorance. So the varas, all the varas, you could get infinite number of varas, but still they were destroyed. But there is one vara, within quotation, that's not vara. That's abhaya. Ask me for the liberation. Give me that ultimate vara of all the varas. That's what the prayer should be with the Devi. Because we keep asking for this and that. What will happen, like Ramana Maharshi says, Kritimaho dadau patanakaranam palam masashvatam gati nirodakam. Vinayvin vilivu vinaikul vittagi vinaikadal viltidum mundivara. Vinaikadal viltidum mundivara. Vidu taralillai undivara. If you keep asking for this vara, that vara, you'll never reach your goal, my friend. You will drown in the ocean. Like we saw in our verse number 3. Janma jalado nimagnana. Then Vara has to come with a huge tusk to lift you. Dvitiyad bhayam bhavati. So what does Taittiriya Upanishad say about it? When there is no differentiation, like in the first verse, when it finds in that non-differentiated state of invisible, unembodied, unpredicated, abodeless, Atman, the basis of life, then it's free from fear. Then it's free from fear. That's the only state where it will be absolutely free from any fears, including the fear of death. If even there is a very minor differentiation, tatsmin udaram antaram kurute, even if there is a minor differentiation, even in the least degree, then there is fear. Okay. Now, another main difference about the Abhaya and Varada. So the Abhaya, you see in this picture, I think this is one of these pictures from Venkateshwara Mahatmyam, where finally they all become statues, all these ladies. So that's just before that Mahalakshmi becomes Alamelu Munga in Tirupati. So I think this is S. Varalakshmi or G. Varalakshmi, if I forgot what the name was. So if you look at the Abhaya Hasta, the fingers are pointing out, up to the limitless space. You see the sky, but there's no sky. Even though it's a little blue, you keep going upwards, you'll be going upwards. The sky will be receding from you because there's no sky. It's just a visual illusion. So it's that Abhaya is always pointing upwards, which means that it's the final liberation, release from all the fear of all the fears. And the Varahasta is pointing downwards, right? It will be still stuck on the earth plane. So we all know what we should ask for. Good. Now, in a very typical style, Acharya, for the first time, all this time he was addressing her, you this, you that, your dust of your feet, but he didn't named her or given us any description of her, how she looks like this and that. No, which is coming later down the line in abundance. But so far he hasn't touched who she is, how does she look like. Now this is the first place he is introducing her to us in a very indirect way. Introducing her to us indirect. How indirect? That's in his own typical style, by saying what she is not. So what she is not, she doesn't do this. Which means obviously, so she's not Lakshmi or she's not any other Devatas who do this. So that's neti, not this, not this. So the first not this is this. More is going to come, because I really like that style very much. That's how he does. Because as a 12-year-old boy, when he went all the way from Kaladi, please pay attention to this. When he went all the way from Kaladi to Madhya Pradesh, all the stories, he crossed a distance of 2,000 miles. 2,000 miles. And he traveled about 30 miles a day. He traveled about, not travel means he walked 30 miles a day. Can you imagine for a boy of 12 to walk across the forests and the waters and the rain and the animals and snakes, hunger, thirst, 30 miles? You have to go to a supermarket, you jump in the car. Next block, supermarket, jump in the car, you take an auto. And unless you want to exercise, that's the only time you walk, right? But he walked 30 miles a day. Now, he reaches Narmada River. That's where Guru Govinda Padacharya is, but Narmada is in full spate, in floods. So the Guru is up in a cave, little bit cave. If you have been to that area, you would see there's a little hillocks with the caves there. He's in Samadhi, and the disciples are worried that Govinda Padacharya will be swept away in the flood. So Shankara is on this side of the river. We cannot cross because it's in full spate. So the disciples are going bananas. Oh, Guru is going to be swept away. He's in Samadhi, can't wake him up. Now Shankara sees all this drama and then puts his kamandal in the flood and then contains the entire Narmada flood in his kamandal. Then he walks across. As soon as he reaches the other shore and goes to his Guru, the disciples make a lot of noise. Oh, you saved our Guru. Balak ne aapko bacha diya, bacha diya. Ye halchal ho raha hai. So Guruji opens his eyes with all this halchal. Kya halchal ho raha hai? So open his eyes. He says, ye balak ne aapko bacha diya. Then he says, what Balak? He says, looked at Shankara. He says, who are you? Says, who are you? He says, who are you? He didn't say who he was. He says who he was not. His typical style. That's why I'm saying this. He doesn't say who he was. He didn't say who he was. He said who he was not. Mano buddhyahankara chitta ninaham. Not the mind, not the buddhi, not the chitta, and I'm not the I that I think I am. Ahankara here doesn't mean gamand or timur. Ahankara means I'm not the I that I think I am. What is the I think that I am? You must have heard this. Some of you were with us for a long time, with me for a long time, like Chandelier-ji and Raji. You have heard this for a long time from me. The I that you think I am, the I that you think you are, I'm 5 feet 10. That's not I am. That's why the Shankara said, Manobuddhya hankaram, because that I that you think that you are keeps changing, and you cannot be something that is changing constantly in a state of constant flux. So that's his typical style. I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this. Manobuddhya hankara chitta ninaham. न च श्रोत्र जिह्वे न च घ्राण नेत्रे न च व्योम भूमिर्न तेजो न वायुः चिदानंद रूपम शिवोहम शिवोहम न च प्राण संज्ञो न भय पंच. See, look at all the nas. That's why I put this slide up here. Na, I'm not this, not this. न च प्राण संज्ञो न भय पंच वायु न वा तधातु न वा पंचकोशा न वाक्पानिपादं न चोपास्तुपायं मे द्वेष रागौ न मे लोभ मोहो मदो नैव मे नैव मात्सर्य भावः न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्ष. He says, I'm not even liberation. What are you? He says, the Guru gets tired of this. No, I'm not this. I say, tell me who you are. He says, Chidananda Rupam Sivoham. You know, it's a very interesting point here. I want all of you to notice this. As a 12-year-old boy, Shankara was asked this question, who are you? And this is how he answered it. I'm not this. And it says, but what are you? He says, I'm Sivoham. He says, Sivoham. Aham Shiva hai. Well, what did he do for the rest of his life for 32 years? Aham Brahmasmi. Not only he's advocated that. Aham Brahmasmi. Tattvamasi. I am Atma Brahma. Sarvam Kalidam Brahma. Prajnanam Brahma. Brahma. What did he say when he was 12 years old? Aham Shiva. Not, he didn't say Aham Brahmasmi. He says Aham Shiva Asmi. Why did he do that? Was he telling a lie? I'm not sure. You make a judgment. But this much I can tell you. What he said as a 12-year-old boy was the truth. But the rest of the life, what he did, why he did it, to fulfill his avatara nokam, the purpose of his incarnation, which is to unite all the Hindus, divided Hindus. They were divided into six divisions of Ganapatyas. Sauram, Ganapatyam, Shauram, Shaktam, Kaumaram, Vaishnavam, and Shaivam. So these 6 sects were fighting with each other. And that's why the hostile religions were able to take a stronghold, so much so that even to the deep south in Shravanabalagola, they had an influence. Deep south in Madurai, they had a strong influence over the king. But in Madurai, the job was done. In Tamil Nadu, entire Tamil Nadu, the job of removing the hostile religion was done by Gnanasambandar and Appar in the 7th century. And the only state that Adi Shankaracharya didn't have to do anything was the Tamil Nadu state when he came in 8th century. Other than that, everywhere else, he did an amazing job by removing those hostile religions and driving them out of the shores of India. And the only was he able to do it because he didn't say, I am Shivaham. He said, Ham Brahmasmi. So to fulfill his avatara nokam, he had to do that. And not only that, every Devata he described as Brahman. So that's it. And then another also, some of you attended my Tattva Bodham class. So he says, when he says Atma, he says what Atma is not first. Stula Shukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatiratirikta is not this, is other than this. So same way, Devi is not this, she is other than this.
Anybody got any questions?
Very good. Thank you all.
ரொம்ப
Om
நன்றி குருஜி, ரொம்ப நன்னா இருந்தது, அருமையா இருந்தது. ராம் ராம்.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.